But as we go, it's kind of one of those things you do these press conferences, but I am jacked up about this. I mean, I truly am excited about being here. And I really can't thank Randy, Lon, and Mark, for inviting us back. And, with Chris and Pete as partners, I've been up there, their facilities up in Buffalo. It's outstanding, the partnership. And Coach Holgorsen in West Virginia, I got to tell you a story. Every time when I drive for a long period of time, and I usually drive with my left hand out. I don't lean back as far as I did when I was a kid. But all of a sudden, after a while, my arm just gets locked out. And it always reminds me of West Virginia because some darn DB hit me so hard when we were playing and when I was a player. And I said to myself when I knew we were playing West Virginia, I said, gosh, now I'm going to have to feel that pain again when I look across and see West Virginia. But I've always had an unbelievable amount of respect by the way they play the game. I know Nick Carparelli's here, and I can't say how much I appreciate, with us exiting, obviously going into a new conference, the professionalism that the Big East has shown us, or for me personally this year, and I thank you for that. We're excited. Our kids are excited. Both teams know each other. I think it's going to be an outstanding game. I do believe it'll be the best game so far with the Pinstripe Bowl, and our fans get a great opportunity. Obviously New York is a foundation for us in recruiting. Our alumni base has an opportunity to see us. And most importantly for me, our kids that are pretty much a majority of our football team in this area, their family is going to be able to come. And in my opinion, play at the greatest venue in all sports throughout the whole world at Yankee Stadium. So when he's at the press conference, and I am excited about it. So we appreciate being invited. We love being here. I think I may be the most excited person coming back. Brings back times where I remember my grandfather, and it's very nostalgic for me to be here. And it's an honor and a privilege, and we look forward to working with people in the community. I think we do a great job of that. I know that the events that they have are outstanding. I do believe Christmas time in this area, is no better place to be. There's no better place to be. A little biased, being a New York City guy myself, greatest city in the world. So appreciate it. Appreciate inviting us. Looking forward to an outstanding week. Looking forward to a very competitive game. And thank you again.
Alex, on behalf of Oliver Luck and Dr. Jim Clements, really appreciate the invitation. Randy, you and your team have done a tremendous job here. I was fortunate to be able to come here in the summer. I brought my 12-year-old son. You can imagine his how anxious he was to run around and witness a game. It was a dream come true for him, and he reminded me of how special that this bowl game is. He said, I get to go back to Yankee Stadium, and he was a little confused because it was football and not baseball. But we explained that to him, and he's excited about that. And my daughters are excited about spending Christmas up in New York. Our entire university is going to be fired up about it. One of the things that we've been talking about wanting to play a game in New York, and it's fantastic to be able to play a bowl game and strike up one of the rivals that exists with Syracuse, which will be fun. Hopefully our experience in New York playing Syracuse will be better than last year, which was not very pleasant for West Virginia when Syracuse got the best of us. But our kids will be fired up about playing. On behalf of the Big 12, I know Ed's in the back here. We're excited about being a part of this bowl game. Our fans are going to be excited about coming to New York and being able to experience it. So I know one thing that the Yankees does, everything they do is going to be first class. Our players are going to be fired up about it. I've been to a whole bunch of bowl games. This one's going to be as good as any of them. To be able to come to New York and be able to experience the great city that New York is. So can't tell you how excited we are. Thank you very much for the invitation. Look forward to being able to spend a whole week here to get to know everybody better. And one of the things that I've always taken from bowl games is the relationships that you build over the course of a week, and being able to play is going to last a lifetime. And that's what bowl games are all about. And we certainly look forward to being able to spend an entire week up here with the Yankees. So thank you very much.
Coach Holgorsen, you mentioned that you guys had been looking forward to an opportunity to play in New York, hopefully one of these days, and here it is. What sort of stands to be gained for your program? playing in Yankee Stadium and in New York City?
I think it all goes back to the fan base. I had the opportunity the last 2 years to be able to come to the Big East basketball tournament, which in my opinion is one of the greatest sporting events that exists. In our fan base, when we were leaving to go to the Big 12, one of the things that they were talking about was not being able to experience that. So to be able to play a bowl game here in New York and be able to be a part of it with the Yankees, for our fan base to be able to come back and experience New York City and get to know the Yankees a little bit better, I think will be tremendous.
Yeah, I'd like to ask both coaches, being that's a bowl game, and it's I know your approach to the regular season is sort of one way. How do you approach a bowl game when you've got these extra practices? Is it just another game you're trying to win, or are you trying stuff for next year? What exactly is your mindset going into a bowl game?
Well, I can't give out all the secrets. Right? we were fortunate to be able to be successful last year in our bowl game, so we have a plan. You do got to practice your young kids. I mean, you get an opportunity to practice a lot and get those guys out there on the practice field and work them a little bit. But then at some point, you got to cut it off and you got to prepare for the game. And so, I think it's the best of both worlds. You got to work with your young guys and then figure out a way to prepare without over preparing for the bowl game, and then which there's a lot of different ways to do that. And we have an approach that I think is going to be successful.
I think you do a little bit of everything. You got the young players, you want to see where they're at in their development, and then obviously, just like Coach said, there's a time where you got to make decisions on how you want to install the game plan. You're still coming to a bowl game. I think everyone on the outside, has to enjoy it. Families, and that's the reward that you get. A lot more fun for the athletic administration and the fans and everyone. And I think we as coaches are going to go out and get our teams ready to put a good product on that field. For Mark and Randy and Lon, and one that this bowl game can look back to and be proud of this competition, and that's our responsibility. But to go ahead and do it, it's a little bit of everything as you go. You want to keep it going for the kids, you want to make it fun, but yet you have to prepare to win.
Sure, no, go ahead.
Could you guys just briefly talk about your season and your outlook going against this particular opponent, in that you've had a history with them? So it's almost like another regular season game because you've played each other in the past several years.
And the question is, how do I feel about that?
Yeah, just talk about facing West Virginia a little bit.
So I think I said it earlier. I have a great amount of respect. I took an official visit to West Virginia University when I was in high school. So Coach Nealon was the coach, and then the relationship between Coach Nealon and Coach Mack, and how competitive they were against each other, and having played against West Virginia as a player, I think you just have a great appreciation. And when you look at that, you look at it, I know what our players are up against. I know how much pride those players in West Virginia have and how they play football and doing that. So, having been in the game against West Virginia for 4 years, and then being able to compete against them last couple of years, I think you have a great appreciation. Bowl games are tough, where sometimes you play teams where you may not know, two opponents that know each other, that have a great amount of respect for each other. And I believe what Mark said. I think out of all the bowl games, you're going to see two of the best quarterbacks in college football.
Well, I made reference to it. I think we're going to be motivated to play based on what happened last year. Went up to Syracuse and they outcoached us and outplayed us. So I think there's going to be a lot of familiarity with it. I mean, just like anything. I mean, you got to. When the game's over, you gotta move past it, and we moved past that loss a long time ago. But we will revisit that and obviously watch the film from last year, watch their film from this year, and try to come up with the best plan that we possibly can, as will Coach Marrone and his staff. So I think it's a fantastic matchup, and I think the fans are going to be excited about it. I think college football in general is going to be excited about it.
Thank you. Anybody else? No? Okay, great. Oh, no, you got another?
Schwartzwalder Trophy, Dr. Gross, anybody address? Is that's come up? Is that going to be up for grabs or no?
I think one of the things about playing in a bowl game that I think we ought to be conscious of is, right to the right of us, right there, is the Steinbrenner Trophy, and that's why both teams are here, and that's what we're playing for. And I think that's very important that we all understand that. at least from my end, our university, our athletic department, our fans, and our people here. You know, Mr. Steinbrenner, I was very fortunate enough, and to tell you a brief story, I was very fortunate enough to have meetings with Mr. Davis, Al Davis, who's a Syracuse, obviously, grad, who's an Erasmus grad who won the championship, and also, as Mark is, congratulations to your school for winning the championship. But I remember when I met with Mr. Davis, he talked about the selection of the college academic All-Americans. And he said that Mr. Steinbrenner had spent more time on that committee going through the players and what they've done, and just how much of a great appreciation he had for the game of college football. So I think the Steinbrenner Trophy is obviously right now what we're here for, and it's the reward for the winning team.
One last question from Nate.
For Coach Marrone, I remember a couple years ago when you guys were here, you talked about
This guy, his younger brother and I went to school together as little kids. Lived 2 blocks away from me.
here in the Bronx, right? I mean, you
If you would have
talked
played
about
football, you'd be sitting up here, and we'd be switching positions. Go ahead.
you know, it was kind of a homecoming for you, and it was a very, an emotional victory for you after that exciting game here against Kansas State. Is the feeling different this time around, having already been here once and been successful? Is it? Do you approach it any differently this time around?
No, I don't. No, I really don't. And the feeling's actually higher. I'm more excited. You know, the first time coming in, really didn't have an expectation of what was going on, and then, to realize. I mean, when you go to a bowl game, and I've been to many, and I know Coach has been to many games, and a lot of times, Randy and Mark and Lon, this is where we would see them, and then after the game's over, but you know what? They care. That's why I think this is the greatest bowl game I've been. And as a player or as a coach, Randy, he'll be down there. I'm putting pressure on him down at Dylan's candy store. But, they take a great part of it. And I think the amount of education that you get from this bowl game, you're talking about, New York City. You're talking about, Ellis Island, the history, 9/11, the appreciation of what our men and women in the military do. I mean, there's just so much that goes into this bowl game because of the site. The history of Yankee Stadium. There's just so much that goes in. I think it's so beneficial for not just only our players, but also our fans and our alumni.